What's up, Internet? You're tuned in to episode 106 of the PotsCast. Happy New Year. We made it. We are here. It is 2021. We have come through the gauntlet that was 2020. And, I'm ready for 6 more months of it. But, hey, I'm still feeling pretty good. How about you, Steve?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a good break.
I messed up the intro. Of course, I'm your host, Peter Messi, joined as always by my very good friend, Mr. Stephen Radford. Yay! Welcome to the show.
You really threw me off. You really did.
I did, right? Like, we go away for a week off for the holidays, and, 2021 new energy. I'm thrown. But I am in a good mood. I'm excited to do this episode. Of course, it is our first show of 2021. We're literally 3 days into the new year, so fuck all has happened in the world of video games the last couple days, even less so in the world of Nintendo. So we, of course, are going to be doing our 2021 predictions episode today, where Steve and I both have 5 predictions for 2021, as well as some extras that we might fit in depending on how things go, that we're ready to share with you guys. We are going to keep track of these throughout the year. We are going to ask that you guys try to keep us honest, and the loser of this bet basically is going to, or I should say the winner of the bet is going to get to choose a game that the loser will have to complete. And we don't, not 100%, but you've got to roll credits on it. You have to do it. It'll be a thing we talk about on the show and everything. So we figured, A, fun way for us to, get our predictions out there into the world, but B, one of us might get to play one of the other's favorite games of all time in 2022. So
it's got to be something accessible, though. Like, you can't tell me to play a PS5 game and expect me to buy a PS5.
That was not agreed upon, and I think that caveat exists. Like, you can't just throw that in there now. I'm sorry. Like, we already agreed, and if I say I want you to play the PlayStation 5 exclusive God of War 2, you'll need to buy a PlayStation 5. This is just what's going to happen. And if you tell me that you want me to play Toy Story 2 on the N64, I'm going to have to get my N64 out. All right? It's just how it is.
Yeah, I should go with that one.
It's just how it is. We can't be changing the rules after the fact. No tears. Whatever happens, you're just going to have to boot. You're going to have to suck it up and play the game. Maybe I'll throw Zeta bone and I'll make you play Persona 5 Royal.
No.
We'll see. Well, you can't say no. You have to do it. That's the whole bet.
I need to win now. I need to win.
Anyway, before we get into all that, let me just real quickly tell you where you can find us all across the web. Of course, we are the PotsCast, LootPots.com's weekly Nintendo/video games podcast, where Steve and I get together every week and talk about what's going on in the world of Nintendo, what we're playing, and just answer your questions, chat with you guys, have a good time. Make some predictions today. That's what we're gonna do. So if you want to support the show, of course, you can give us a like on your platform of choice, review us wherever you get your podcast, share the show with your friends. Big ask that we'll give you here is to head over to the new PotsCast YouTube channel, where we are still trying to build up a new subscriber base, get some new eyes over on that channel, and help build the show, build the community. So head over there and give us both a belated birthday/Christmas present, and go give us a subscribe and a like on that channel there and this most recent episode. If you want to get some more content from us, of course, you can head over to the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/LootPots, where last week we took a break for the holiday. But before that, on the 23rd, we had our big Among Us stream with the community and some of our friends. We had AJ from Fanatics 4. We had my friend Sierra Plus Ultra from Twitch. A bunch of fine folks came and hang out. Bunch of members of the team like Chewy and Max. And it was a ton of fun. We had a great time. Thank you to everybody who showed up. Should still be available on VOD for you. We should download that before it disappears forever. Yes. Why don't you go do that right now? But we'll be back this Thursday with something new. No plans right now, but if you catch this before Thursday and you have an idea of what you'd like to see us play this Thursday, why don't you let us know? There's a few ways you can do that. One of which is by coming and joining our Discord, where we have an always growing community of Pots heads just like you, getting together to talk about games, Nintendo, help each other find next-gen consoles, all kinds of good stuff. It's a great community. We have a good time. Steve and I are in there all the time chatting with everybody. And there's just a great group of folks. So if you listen to the show, the names you hear writing in all the time, Zayd, Doc, they're there. You can get to know them too. make some new friends. Get to connect with people about your passion for video games. Also, you can get your thoughts read on the show in our MailPot segment, just like a bunch of those fine folks do pretty much every damn week. You can also do that by writing it to me at pete@lootpots.com or jumping on our weekly Twitter thread, which is, of course, at LootPots on Twitter and Instagram, where we'll ask for your questions and, try to source stuff for the show. So we have a bit of an easier time filling the air. Last but not least, if you want to get a little bit more LootPots in your life, you want to show your support, you can head over to patreon.com/LootPots, where for just $1 you'll get access to our Patreon exclusive show After Dark, where we keep the mics rolling and we chat about things that aren't going on in the world of video games and things that are going on in the world of Pete and Steve. So if you want to hear us talk about things like our New Year's resolutions or, maybe some spicy game stuff that didn't fit in the show, there's all kinds of good content there. I think the show is well worth your time, and it's the best way to help show your support for the show. So I hope you'll go check all that stuff out. That's enough shilling for now, though. Let's talk about what we've been playing over break, Steve. It's funny. I don't think it's actually been that long since we last chatted. It's been
feels like forever,
but it feels like a long time. Yeah, it feels like it's been like 2 weeks, even though it's probably only been about a week, maybe a week and a half.
Yeah, a week and a half. Like we had that stream on the 23rd.
Yeah,
right before Christmas Eve.
That would have been the last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a bit. What have you been playing?
Video game wise, I've pretty much exclusively been playing Watch Dogs Legion. I kind of have abandoned Cyberpunk for the time being. I found that game frustrating, and I'm going to come back to it once the patches are out. I think I may end up just starting it again, maybe doing the Nomad route and just kind of assessing whether I want to play it in the way I was playing it before. But I've kind of figured that Watch Dogs does a lot of what Cyberpunk tried to do, but better. Like the hacking, for example, in Watch Dogs works. You don't even have to go into certain places. You can just do it all by hacking the CCTV or using a little drone or using your spider bot. All of that stuff can be done totally stealthily, which isn't possible in Cyberpunk. I've found that every single time I've tried to hack or tried to be stealthy, I end up just getting caught and have to go in guns blazing anyway. So I find that a lot more satisfying in Watch Dogs. And the story, I'm enjoying the story. It's standard Ubisoft, not taking itself too seriously, very much similar style to the Far Cry series. And it's a great game. So I'm progressing with that. I'm going to finish that, and then I probably will end up getting back to Cyberpunk. We'll do the first big patch in end of January, and then the next one in February. So hopefully by then I'll have finished Watch Dogs and whatever else I decide to move on to, and I can get back to Cyberpunk.
So speaking of Cyberpunk, that's where I spent most of my break. I am now very close to the end of the game. I have advanced to those who have played, and Steve, I'm sure you'll remember, when you go to your journal in Cyberpunk where it breaks up your tasks, it has it based like on the main missions are at the top. There's side quests on the side that are like the more story-driven stuff, and then there's gigs that are mostly just like kind of like a one-off, like do the thing, get the money. Right, yeah. So I am now 40 hours in. I have the last story mission that starts the end of the game queued up, and I've done, I want to say, most of the side quests that I am probably going to do. I've done all of, so without spoiling anything, there are probably 5 major side quest lines that involve major characters that you meet in the main story or through specific side missions that then kind of spin off into like longer, larger narratives that you play out over time. There are 4 of those that directly impact the story and the end of the game. I've done 2 of them to completion. I'm on the last mission of 1, and then I've got like maybe 1 or 2 more missions to go on the other one. Aside from that, I've like looked up a bunch of guides and stuff in terms of like the best side quests and side quests not to miss before you finish the game and everything. And like I've done a couple of those to kind of like flesh out the experience. And I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm gonna finish up these main story missions and then or the side missions that relate to the story, roll credits, and then see if I want to keep playing. Because I'm at the point where you'll recall the last like proper episode we did where we talked about Cyberpunk. I don't know if we got to it in the Game of the Year thing. I had mentioned that I was like, despite the problems and the criticisms I've had of the game, of which there are, pretty good number, that I wasn't done with it, that I was still having fun with it, and that I wanted to see it through and get kind of past that 20-hour mark and see how I felt about the story and all that kind of stuff. And I do have some thoughts on that. But now I kind of am finding myself 40 hours in at that like wind down period that I feel like you get with like a big AAA game where you're like, I'm kind of ready to be done. So like, do I like push and keep doing more stuff and finish it and like complete it? Or do I just decide that I'm done and roll credits? And I think I'm leaning more towards decide that I'm done and roll credits, because I think I kind of felt like I was ready to finish it on like Friday or Saturday. So like as of today, yesterday. But I knew I had those 2 missions that like I wanted to finish because I had looked up the guide and I was like, all right, cool. Let's finish those and then we'll see where we're at. And if I'm motivated to do more, I'll do more. If not, I'll roll credits and be done with it for now. And I think I'm feeling like I'm pretty much ready, So
I'm curious though, because like on the previous main episode, one of the things you said that the reason you wanted to persist with it was that you'd seen a bunch of people you respect that have reviewed the game that basically said at around about the 25 hour mark, the story kind of changes and it feels like a different team kind of wrote that half of the game.
Yeah.
Did you experience that? Did you find that like that cutting point where it's like, actually, this game has totally shifted and has totally changed? Was it a twist that we kind of anticipated it might be, that maybe the story changes and there is a bit of a plot twist? Or are you kind of still on the point of, the writing still feels immature, still not massively into it? Where are you landing with that?
So I think like most things with Cyberpunk, there's not a clean answer to that question. Because I will say that in the 20 plus hours that I've played since we last talked about it, I have met side characters and experienced quest lines that I genuinely enjoyed a lot. And I'll say this at least, right? Specifically, both. I say a few characters, I guess. Judy, Panam, and River are 3 of those major side quests that I discussed. All of their storylines I've really enjoyed. I like the characters a lot. Every time they called me, I was excited to get that call and be like, oh, cool, there's more for me to go do with them, and let me go do that right away. I think that each of their storylines has had moments or dialogue that I've thought was good or strong, or like, oh, that was a great moment, or oh, that ingratiated me to this character. That made me love this character or feel sympathy for them or want to help them or whatever, and like feel motivated to do so. I've had exactly, I want to say it's 2, but it might be 3 moments throughout my 40 hours where I've had a conversation with Keanu Reeves' Johnny Silverhand and didn't roll my eyes. There was maybe 1 that I actively enjoyed.
I'm not a massive fan of that character, as we said before. I felt that, I saw it as I didn't think Keanu's performance was great as a voice actor, but I know you said you thought it was mainly the writing.
I think it
didn't give him the opportunity.
I stand by that, because the moments that I'm describing are moments where kind of, and this is again not spoilery, but Steve will understand, where kind of the veneer of his character, of like who he projects himself as and everything, like kind of gets pulled back a little bit.
Okay.
and you're like, oh, this character has depth that I didn't realize, but it also doesn't go that far, right? Like it's like there are two moments I had where I was like, oh, maybe there's more to this guy than what I've given him credit for. Um, but then the game doesn't really reinforce that. So like I don't like Johnny any more than I did when I was complaining about him. I still think 95% of his writing is actively bad. But where I will say I think I feel a little bit differently is the missions that are focused on him and his stuff and the characters that he's related to, I didn't feel that way as strongly about. It was more when I was doing a mission I already liked and he would just like interject to be like, oh, fuck this fuckhead, man. What a fucking,
Yeah.
why don't you piss off? Like, you never fucking listen to me anyway. I'm Johnny Silverhand. Like, that was just like, okay, I fucking get it. And it's not good. It's not interesting. It's not funny. It rarely adds anything. But the moments where they're like, they focus in on who Johnny is and how he feels about what's going on and what your relationship to him is, there is meat there. And the fact that it's not satisfying or not as satisfying as I think it could have been is just another like it's another missed opportunity in a long list of missed opportunities with this game. But I think that as I've played more of it, I see the kernels of what people are talking about in terms of there's a good game in there, but there's a lot of barriers between you and enjoying that game to its fullest potential. And some of them I think will be fixed by, patches and updates and ongoing support and everything. But some of them won't. I think the things that don't work about the story will probably still not work for me 6 months, 2 years, forever from now, right? But I think that if it had released in a more complete state, I think I probably would have come at it a lot less harshly. I still think I probably would think of it like as more of a 7 or an 8 than a 9 or a 10. But, when I started with it, I felt like it was like a 6 to a 7. So, like, I have felt my opinion of it get higher as I've played it longer. That doesn't fix any of the problems that I've laid out. I stand by everything I've said about it since, but I also think that this is a game that can win you over or can win some people over if you're willing to look past its flaws and forgive the things that don't work to experience the things that do. I guess my argument, though, is how worth it is it to do that when you could easily play other games that give you similar things without as many caveats. That said, the style, the location, like all those things about Cyberpunk are unique. And there aren't necessarily other games that are at least modern that can offer that, right? Like, I don't think there's been a AAA Cyberpunk game since, like, Deus Ex went away, like, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I could say I could see that. I mean, I personally think Watch Dogs is pretty similar. It's like got that high tech,
it's, like, clean,
borderline
though.
cyberpunk, but it is very clean. It is like, yeah, it is. But London is very much in a state of disarray,
Sure.
and it isn't a fictional land, and you don't have any of those like character mods or any of that cool stuff. And that I think is another one of those points where it wasn't fully realized. Like you see that first scene where you go into the chair and you're getting the mods and stuff, and it's like really cool. After that, it's just like picking it from a menu, and it's kind of like, ugh, really? This could have been so cool.
It does get cooler over time as you unlock more options. But
like I unlocked that double tap B to slow down time, which was really cool. I was working to unlock the mantis blades, which I think would have been cool.
Right now I have the mantis blades in a double jump, so I can just like run in, do like a front flip and stab somebody. Like it's like insane.
I think some of that stuff, if you'd have had that earlier in the game, it would have seemed, I think it would have lured people in a lot more. I think the slow burn entrance on this is so long. Like you've got that 8 to 10 hour prologue.
Yeah.
Then you go into the game and you like basically start from scratch, and you have to go see the Ripper Dock and start literally again, and then that's when you get the missions and stuff. So it is a very, very slow burn. And if you're not willing to look past the flaws, like you said, I think people will lose interest really quickly.
And I think that's the thing, right? Is I don't know that I agree that I think having a sense of progression in an RPG is so important and everything, but like I think that it having the long prologue is hurt by the fact that it's a game that has so many flaws and that it could lose you in those first 8 hours before you get to the cooler shit, before you get to the side characters that you really fall in love with, like all that stuff. Excuse me. So like I agree with you in that regard, for sure. So yeah, it's weird. Like Cyberpunk, it reminds me a lot of weirdly Final Fantasy 15, where my very good friend Andy Brown said on our old podcast that it was the okayest game he ever fell in love with. And I wouldn't say that I've fallen in love with Cyberpunk, but I would say like I feel like I've like fallen like in like with it, you know? Like it's like it feels like it's like if you were like casually dating someone and it's like, yeah, it's like we have fun together, but I don't know that I see like a future there. You know, it's like I'd like to go out with them a couple more times, but like, you know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that,
like friends with benefits situation.
Yeah, and it's like, and maybe not even really friends. You know, like more like acquaintances.
Acquaintances.
Because it's like there are things about it I like. I could give you a bulleted list of what it does that works and why it works and what I dig about it, what I've gotten out of it, why I've persisted with it for 40 hours, how I think that there is a lot of potential for a sequel that's actually good. Maybe I should say actually great, because I think there are a lot of people who think the game is good. That's fine. And the fact that I have these complicated feelings about it, it frustrates me the more I think about it. Because the more I think about it, the more I realize that I think with like 6 to 12 more months, it could have been a game that I really was like, yeah, this is good. I stand by this. Rather than a game that like, if somebody today, despite my enjoyment, asked me, should I get Cyberpunk? I'd say, no. Wait. So, I'm going to roll credits on it probably today. If not, by the next time we sit down, I'll be done with it. So this is probably the last time.
I'll be interested to hear your final thoughts on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, aside from like what I guess I think about the ending, this is probably the last in-depth conversation we'll have for a while. I imagine we might revisit it in the future when there's patches, when Steve picks it up again. I'd like to pick it up again once it's fixed, quote unquote, and I would kind of like to see the Nomad side of things, because as I played, I decided I really liked the Nomads.
Me too. That's when I met Pan Am, and I was like, oh, I really like this. That was one of the storylines I really, really liked as well.
That was probably my favorite
when you
one.
go see her village and her people and stuff, I really did like that.
Yeah, I agree. And all the following through that storyline to the end was probably my favorite part of the game. So that's something like I would like to do at some point. So I guess the fact that I want to go back to the game at all, that like I have these positive feelings, like it speaks to the fact that there is something there, and that, you know, the game is probably worth playing for yourself to see how you feel about it. But I also like can't in good conscience recommend it to most people, given the circumstances that you'll find yourself in, you know? So I don't know. It's a mixed bag. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I persisted. But yeah, it's still a complicated one. So I have something new on my list, which I'll keep brief, I think, because I imagine it's something I'll talk about throughout the year. But it's really fun and interesting, and I wanted to bring it up, and I hope you have questions about it.
Okay.
So a couple weeks ago, my good friend Kale from my other podcast, The Comics Pals, which if you read comic books or like superhero stuff, every Monday wherever you get your podcasts, The Comics Pals, Kale hit me up and was asking me about emulators, because he wanted to get into playing some like Pokemon mods, like fan hacks and stuff. And so I like got some stuff together for him, and was kind of like pointing him in the right direction, and it got me kind of interested in that again. Like, I haven't fucked around with mods in really any video game in many years, but Pokemon is really the only one I ever spent extensive time with anyway. Like, when I was really first getting into emulators, I was like getting into like modding in like Pokemon that you couldn't normally find in the game, so I could like run through like a Gen 3 game with a Gen 2 team, or like changing the player character icon, stuff like that. Like, very surface level hacks that were just like, let me inject this new element into the game so that I can have some fun with it. And I know that I really only ever scratched the surface. Like, I've never played any of the like proper fan games that people say are really good. I've never played like a Kaizo Pokemon. I've never done a Nuzlocke. I've never played like a full game with a randomizer. So I decided I was going to look into that, and I figured, it being Pokemon's 25th anniversary this year, like, it would be a good reason to do like a bunch of Pokemon content. So I was like, all right, like, this could be cool for streams. I have like a bunch of really cool video ideas that I want to use, like some of these as a jumping off point. Whatever, right? So I've got a ton of these things. So last night, the last 2 days I've been fucking around with the technology side of things, just getting it working. And then last night I started up my first game after, like, I'd put Cyberpunk away, got in bed, couldn't sleep, and popped out my laptop and decided to like just roll with a game. So I had set up a Pokemon Blue randomizer with this this is custom tool that this fan group made that's like a Java program that works with every Pokemon game, where you load the ROM in and then you can set a bunch of parameters for like what things you want to randomize and what things you want to change. And then it creates a ROM for you that has all of your presets, and like that's like your specific rolled one. So like it's cool because if you and I wanted to do something for the show, right? Like if we were like, oh, we're both gonna play a randomized Pokemon game and like race each other, right? I could send you the exact one that I have, and you'd have like the same 3 random starter Pokemon. And like when you got to Brock, he'd have the same random Pokemon,
That's cool.
So we can have like a similar shared experience, which is, it's cool that it's set up for that. But so I set up one that has a bunch of weird parameters where it's like the 3 starter Pokemon were totally random. Every area of the map has a random set of Pokemon, but they're the same every time. So I've run into some like interesting stuff there. So like, for example, right, like the starter Pokemon that I had options for were Dragonite, Growlithe, and Seadra. So I chose Dragonite, and I got through. I'm at up to Mount Moon on my first night, and in the Viridian Forest, I was going through, and like that's one of those areas where like you'll find the same like 2 low-level Pokemon like over and over and over again, right? And there's like one rare Pokemon, and it's Pikachu. One of the like either Caterpie or Weedle, whichever one it is, of the one that like shows up over and over and over again, it was Mewtwo. So whenever you go into the Viridian Forest, I was getting fucking spammed with Mewtwo. I was like trying to find the Pikachu slot got replaced with Gengar, and I was like, oh, I really want to catch a Gengar, but I couldn't find it for like 5 minutes because it was just Mewtwo, which is just incredible. And I've run into like these really weird things where like, like I go to fight Brock, right? And I'm like, all right, like he's the rock trainer, right? And he has no rock Pokemon. He had a Flareon and a Clefable. And I randomized all of the TMs. So whenever you find a move, it's a random move, and they're all attacking moves because that was a parameter I could set. He had, instead of Bide, he had Sky Attack. So he had a Clefable that had Sky Attack, and he's like fucking my shit up. So it's like, it's so fucking crazy and random that I'm really having fun with it. Like, it's like totally breathing new life into the game because every section of the map, rather than being like, oh, okay, I know there's a Jigglypuff here, I know there's a Zubat here, I know there's this, it's totally random. And I'm like, what are the 3 Pokemon here? Like, do I want any of them?
Oh,
and like,
cool.
starting with a level 5 Dragonite that already has a full set of moves is just like, oh, okay, that's cool, I guess. You know, like sometimes I'm way overpowered in a situation, and then other times I'm like, oh, I have no answer for this problem right now. Like, this is terrible. So I've had like weird situations where like a Slowpoke beat my Mewtwo, and I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? But yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with it. It's been really cool, and I think one of the things we discussed over the last couple episodes is that in 2021 we both want to be more frugal and like not just buy games left and right. So I think this is going to be something that I sink a lot of time into is like playing with these mods and like getting into some of the fan stuff. Like I really want to try I think it's like I forget. There's like a Fire Red version that's like cranked up, and then that same guy has a platinum. It's like shiny platinum, I think. And they have like the regular trainers that you meet in the overworld have gym leader level AI, and then the gym leaders and like the Elite Four have like somebody playing against you on Smogon AI, where like they use like really good moves, like they have like competitive move sets and like good stat enhancing items.
It's
and
kind of like a new game plus mode. Everything's
yeah. It's like, what if Pokemon was actually challenging? And I'm like, yay! That's what I've been wanting. And then they have the Kaizo.
It's totally the opposite to me. I just want Pokemon where I can catch everything and not have to do any of these.
So lazy.
Any of the battles.
I want a real JRPG. But then, are you familiar with Kaizo, like as a concept?
No.
So Kaizo.
I think we spoke about it before on the show.
I think we have. Kaizo is a term that originates from this modder. I think it was two guys made this series of games called Mario Kaizo or Super Mario Kaizo, I think it is. And it was basically like they remade the Mario games to be super hard, like really crushingly difficult. And it's supposed to be a thing where, like, if you're a veteran Mario player, like, you know, this will finally give you a challenge again. And there are 3 really famous Kaizo Pokemon games. Crystal specifically, I was reading about, apparently is, like, so difficult that only 2 people have ever beat a Nuzlocke of it. So I kind of want to be the 3rd. But we'll see how that goes. So I'm having a ton.
You have to stream it when you get like near the end, so people like we can see if you are the 3rd person ever.
Oh, definitely. So my plan is for the randomizer that I'm doing right now.
I'm looking at the like British, like the English name for Kaizo Mario World on Wikipedia, also known as Asshole Mario.
That is the other name. Yeah, that's true. So. The one I'm doing right now, I kind of was like, I'm just going to do this for fun. And, like, I'm recording it every time I play it, so I have the footage because I am going to, like, reference it in a video later. But I think I want to either pick a day of the week or, like, something. Like, I'm going to try to basically work in a day where I'll stream the hacks either over on our channel or on my personal Twitch. And like, everybody can kind of, like, play along and, like, you know, like, see, like, what fucking weird random Pokemon show up and all that kind of shit. Yeah, but for the really difficult one, I think that would be, like, a fun thing to stream and, like, especially, like, have you egg me on and shit while I'm, you know, like, grinding my fucking teeth. And especially if it's Nuzlocke, where it's like, oh, it's stupid hard, and if your Pokemon faint, they're dead. It's like, oh, no, okay. I should probably do a Nuzlocke before I do a Kaizo Nuzlocke, but we'll see.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So I think you're going to see a lot of this kind of stuff for me this year. I'm definitely excited about it. Like, it feels like a real, like, it feels like this could be the path forward for the future of Pokemon for me as somebody who, like, didn't feel motivated to play the DLC, right? Like, I'm super excited to do this. So, I don't know. Hopefully.
No, I think that's cool. And I've always been all for emulators in terms of, like, preservation and being able to open up new stuff like this. And I know you already own the games like a million times, so there's no issue there anyway.
I have like 3 copies of Pokemon Blue, and I bought it on 3DS. Nintendo has gotten my money.
Yes. I mean, this year, because we discussed it, I think year before last, about like me finally playing stuff like Ocarina of Time and
Yeah.
going back to games that I've never played, because there's a whole like black hole of Nintendo for me. I never had an N64 when I was a kid, so I've got all of those games to go back to, and there's probably a bunch of other stuff, on GBA that I missed.
Older stuff, even like Super Nintendo stuff.
So I'd love to go back and explore that this year as well, probably on Twitch, or maybe we do some like some game clubs where we kind of break it down and we play it together. So I think that could be fun.
I've been wanting to do that with Earthbound for years too, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking 2021 might be the year if I'm gonna like really commit to getting into retro stuff and like playing old games. Like maybe now's the time, like stream Earthbound, like commit to the experience, something.
Yeah, we should do it. And I think if anyone's got any suggestions, make sure they write into the show.
I know Doc has a lot of experience with that. Like Doc streamed that.
I know Doc's been playing randomized Ocarina.
Ocarina, yeah. He finished it. He moved on, I think, to I think he did Twilight Princess as well, but I could be wrong. Let us know, Doc. But
the two worst Zelda games then.
I watched a few streams of the Ocarina Randomizer. Like I watched when he like first started, and I was like, "This is fucking insane." He opens like a small key chest, and it's like, "You got the hook shot." It's like, "What the fuck? What do I do with that?" But yeah, that's cool. So I'm super excited about it. It feels like a really fun way to breathe new life into games that I know so well.
Yeah.
Like one of the things I found this other really popular mod set where it like put some of the modern features into blue and red and yellow. But one of the things you can do is you can change where you start the game. So like rather than, and I know you haven't really played the game, so this might be meaningless to you, but rather than spawning in Pallet Town and picking one of the 3 starters, you can spawn like in Celadon City next to Bill and like start the game with an Eevee instead. Or you can spawn in Saffron and start with a Lapras and, like, do the game in a completely different order. Like, these are all these things that I'm like, oh, man, like, I'm so excited to try that, Like, what does that do for the progression? Like, what does that do when I have to, like, backtrack and beat the first gym and, like, all my team is way too strong? Like, all that kind of stuff is going to be interesting.
And what are you using for this? So you're playing it on your laptop, you said. I'm surprised you're not, like, playing it on your phone or something.
So I might now. Like, I started on the laptop because, like, I'm, like, testing and everything, and, like, I'll probably play it there more often than not. But now that I have – because the way that, like I said, the way that Java thing works is it straight up just makes you a ROM. So all I have to do if I want to play it on my phone is take the ROM and my save file and just pop it over. And I used to do that with emulators where I would, like, put them back and forth depending on, like, where I was going or what I was doing. So I'll probably like pop it on my phone for a while, but like I said, I'm also recording it when I'm playing. So it's like, it's kind of nice to have on the PC. It's easier to get the footage.
Yeah.
But I have been thinking about getting like a little like handheld, like emulator thing. Like, friend of the show, Duncan Ketchison, was posting about something recently that's like this little like $80 like handheld that
There's
you can.
tons of them.
Yeah.
That I was going to make one from a RetroPie and a GBA show for a couple of years back, when I probably still might end up doing that.
I was thinking about that, or maybe buying. Hold on, let me grab the. Yeah, right here. One sec.
Okay.
Whoop. If you're on YouTube, you got to see my sweatpants. Sorry about that. I've got this book, Game Boy Modding. It's from It's from Game Changer _mods, Greg Farrell on Instagram. Great Instagram follow. All about his business where he refurbishes Game Boys. So I've thought about getting one from him, like getting one of his custom rebuilt models, because like they have a backlight, they have USB-C charging, replace screen, like all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of appealing. And I found a few different technological solutions for flashing ROMs onto a cart. Like I found it's called like Easy Flash or something like that. It's like this thing where it's basically just a GBA cart that you can slot a card into, or there's one that you can connect to your PC and just flash the files on. So like I could easily.
I'm surprised there isn't one that you just put like an SD card in.
That is one of them. You pop the SD card into the cart and then pop it in.
Yeah, because I know there's some for the N64 that I was looking at before.
Yeah, so you have a few options. So like I've been thinking about like if I really am going to get into this, like there's probably a better solution than playing it on my computer, but
Sounds expensive though, which goes against your frugal mission.
exactly right. Yeah, so it's like do I want to spend $200 on a refurbished Game Boy or like buy an extra piece of hardware and have to hack it and all that stuff? I don't know. But the thing that Duncan was talking about is apparently only like $70. So that might be the way to go.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
No. So that's been it for me. Been a busy couple of days, but I've been having fun with games over the break and looking forward to rolling credits on Cyberpunk and getting back to Horizon, maybe working on some other new stuff. I've got like feels like a huge gap, right? Like I don't even know what the next game I'm looking forward to is. What, Far Cry right now? Like
Yeah, I guess, or Mario 3D World, which I'm looking forward to. I think that comes out next month, doesn't it?
is that next month?
I think so. I've never played that one.
I've
so
never played that
I was
one either.
really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that'll be a good time. Either way, bit of a quiet period coming up, so should be a good opportunity to play some cool games.
I can imagine we've got some announcements incoming.
Oh yeah, this is the calm before the storm. I think.
Yeah,
I think 2021 is going to be a fucking stacked year. Between Nintendo, PlayStation first party, and Xbox, like finally getting games out the door, like.
Yeah, well, we got a new Halo this year, Flight Simulator on Xbox. At least we know those two.
Yeah.
Then there's that Medium game that I'm looking forward to on Xbox as well.
Medium.
Have you seen that one where you like switch between states? It's like
I remember that. Okay, yeah.
That one's coming out this year, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
And it's like we've got God of War 2, we've got Horizon 2, we've got Deathloop, we've got
Oh yeah, definitely.
I won't say
anything. There's got to be some Bethesda games that are going to be announced soon. I'd imagine Starfield is going to probably be announced soon.
Yeah. I think it's probably still a while away before we actually play it, but I think like
I could see that being their holiday game.
Next year, you think? Or this year?
This year.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's possible, I guess. It's been in development for like 10 years, so like who's to say?
Because think about like Fallout 76, for example. They announced that at E3. It came out
that
in
year.
November. They usually do like
Fallout 4 was like that too.
Yeah.
They announced it and like 6 months later it was out. There was a leak before that though. You'd think we would hear more about it.
There was at Kotaku. That's what got them blacklisted.
I'm wondering if maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll hear some rumblings about it soon.
I hope so. I like Bethesda games.
I fucking love video games, man. So excited. So excited to play more games. Yeah, okay, so let's that's a good place to stop for now. Let's jump into the predictions, Otherwise we'll just be waxing philosophic about games that might be good in 2021. All right, so just to establish the rules here again, and for posterity so that we can't try to cheat in the end of the year when we come back and check on these. So Steve and I talked about this before. The way that we're going to do it is we are each going to put down 5 predictions. And the way we'll go is we're going to flip a coin to see who goes first. And we'll go 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, kind of like we did for our game of the year. The predictions ranking won't matter. So like your 5th prediction is worth as many points as your number 1 prediction. Yeah. It's just a matter of, I guess I should reverse that. Your first one is worth as much as your 5th one. It's just a matter of getting your prediction said first so that the other one doesn't.
So we haven't got to pick another one, yeah?
Yeah. Because we both are going to pick 5, but we have a list of 9 each, as well as one that's like a crazy one that we're going to put as like bonus points. So that'll be like our bonus 6th prediction. So what we're going to do is we're going to place these bets. We'll come back to them throughout the year if we get updates on them and we remember. So that will be where you guys come in to keep us honest. But we are going to save this document. We already decided that we're going to have a special folder in the PotsCast this year for any ongoing bets, any ongoing segments, anything like that. So we'll be able to reference it throughout the year if we need to. And then at the end of the year, like when we do our 2021 wrap-up in December, this will be one of the things that we address on the show, where we'll pull this back up. We'll look at our lists. We'll see what we predicted, how we did. And as we said at the top, the loser of the bet will have to play a game of the winner's choice, any platform, any length, and they will have to complete that game, which means rolling credits on it. They will need to beat the game, not 100% complete it. So we figured this will be a fun way to talk about next year, fun way to make one of us have to play a game that the other loves. Should be a good time. So let's just jump into it. Flip the coin.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna flip a coin. I'm gonna use my phone because I don't have a coin.
We'll do it on Siri. That way there's no cheating.
Flip a coin. Oh, you didn't call what you wanted.
Does she say what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Call it in the air or?
You say now what you want it to be.
Tails.
Okay. Flip a coin.
All about that tail.
It's heads.
Fuck! Okay, off to a great start. All right, so Steve, in our 2021 predictions, what is your first prediction?
There will be another 2D Zelda game released in 2021.
Oh, you're a fucking piece of shit. I have a slightly different one, but that, you know what? I can still say mine. It's different enough from yours.
Mine's in the same vein as the last one they did, the remake. But I didn't want to make it too, narrow. So I've gone just 2D Zelda game, generic.
So
then if it's one, it counts.
I'm going to still give mine because it has a caveat that is different. So the way I'm doing this, we can both be right for you, but we can't both be right if yours is right. If mine is right, you can still win. So we'll see how that plays out.
Okay.
Grezzo will release another Zelda remake in 2021 in honor of Zelda's 35th anniversary. So I'm saying that the team that did Link's Awakening, Grezzo, will do another remake of an old school top-down Zelda game in the style of Link's Awakening, or similar style. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but they'll do another remake, in a similar.
Were they responsible for that one?
Mm-hmm. And Grezzo's also the team that did the Ocarina of Time port, Majora's Mask. I think they have a few other.
Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, and I think they have one or two other Zelda projects that they did. Let me see. They also did the Four Swords Anniversary Edition. They did co-development on Triforce Heroes.
Okay, so I think it's likely then that these people would be doing it.
The only thing is that Link's Awakening came out in 2019, so you're talking about a 2-year dev cycle. Not insane for a game of this size at all.
Especially if they've already got the engine done.
Exactly. You could easily pop Oracle of Ages or Oracle of Seasons into this.
I mean, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to nail it down to a developer, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Okay. I think it'll be them.
Okay. My next one then.
Hold on, wait. I want to ask a clarifying question.
All right. Okay.
We talked about this before. Are we going to award half points? So if there's a Zelda remake in 2021 in honor of the 35th, but it's not made by Grezzo, do I get a half point?
No.
I feel like I should.
I don't think so. No, well, I don't.
I feel like you should totally get half points.
Why?
Because
so
why
you're
not?
saying yours is just a remake.
So what I'm saying is that Grezzo will release another Zelda remake in 2021 for the 35th anniversary. I'm saying
what if it's
that
not for the 35th anniversary? What if it's not?
It is though, right? Because next year's the 35th anniversary. So if it comes out, or not next year, I keep saying that. If it comes out in 2021, it's part of that, right? They don't have to say that, but it is part of it.
All right. Okay. I mean, okay. We'll let you have a half point. We'll see when we score this next year. What if it's if it's not Grezzo? It's I don't know, Capcom for some reason have come back and they're making a Zelda game. You're gonna say I'm allowed that point.
I would say I should get a half point for that because Grezzo, you would get a whole point because a 2D game was made and you didn't make that caveat.
And if it's not a remake, you're not getting a point at all.
And I would say
you're not getting a half point if it's a new game made by Grezzo. Not allowed.
I feel like I shouldn't get a half point for that. No, I shouldn't. I shouldn't. I would want one, but I don't feel like that's fair. But
maybe we need to bring DJ back or something to score these.
Like an impartial judge. Yeah, maybe
we're just gonna be arguing about it for the whole episode.
Maybe that's the way to go. Or maybe that's more fun if we argue about the points. I don't know. We'll figure it out though. Okay, so what's your second prediction?
Metroid Prime 4 will not be released in 2021.
That was one of my extras. I said Metroid Prime 4 will not even be shown in 2021, and then I wrote, "Sorry, Max."
Yours is even worse than mine.
Yeah.
No, I just don't think there's any way that this is coming at any time soon. So
Yeah.
I felt pretty confident that this one was going on my list.
Absolutely. I think that's a safe bet. Okay, cool. All right, so my number 4 is Pokemon's 25th anniversary will be commemorated by the re-release of a classic game. So if you'll recall, the 20th anniversary was when we got the red, blue, and yellow ports on 3DS, and then shortly after that, we got Gold, Silver, and Crystal. I imagine we will see.
I remember those.
I
remember seeing the boxes. They look cool. They did them in like Game Boy style boxes.
Yeah, it was awesome. I imagine we'll see something similar here, where we'll either get some kind of a collection, some kind of a release of these games on the eShop, maybe for a limited time, like any of that kind of stuff.
Are you saying these are just direct ports then? You're not talking about like
not a remake.
Let's Go remake.
No. I'm talking about like there will be a classic Pokemon game that gets put on the Switch.
It's like a 2D emulation collection.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it has to be that, but I'm saying it could encompass any of those. It could be a collection. It could be similar where they put them on the shop a la carte. It could be.
But if it's like 3D Let's Go,
that would not count. Yeah. I'm saying it's a re-release of a classic game, not a reimagining of a classic game. Just a straight port. And I also wouldn't be surprised if it was like, oh, we're bringing back, like, Game Boy games are now part of Nintendo Switch Online, and here's Pokemon as the first set because of the anniversary. Like, it'll be that way. There's going to be some way that they get classic Pokemon shit on Switch for this anniversary. And sell me the same game for the 5th time.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that possibly happening.
They did it for the 20th. So I feel like it's safe. Whether or not it'll definitely happen, who's to say?
I could see them also just selling like a mini console or some other bullshit to try and get you to do.
Maybe I have that on my list somewhere. Who's to say?
Oh, okay.
Who's to say?
Okay, so my next one, Nintendo will announce a new IP.
That's a good one. I'm not confident that it's true, but
no,
I hope
not.
You're right.
It's a very hopeful one
Yeah.
because I feel like it's been since ARMS, so it's been a good 4 years now. It will be since we've seen anything new.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's about time we saw something new that's not just Mario or Zelda. But considering it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda, I'm not that confident that this one's going to come true.
We'll see. Okay, my next one is Nintendo will continue to fail to properly address Joy-Con drift.
I could see that. Yep.
There's a new lawsuit cooking. I imagine they will continue to not do anything about it.
So we're saying they're not going to put out a public like announcement or public acknowledgement and say like say for example Microsoft did with the Red Ring of Death, where it's like we're starting a repair program, we're doing all of that stuff. It's just going to be silence from Nintendo,
or more like placation, like they've gotten, where it's like, yeah, you can send them in and we'll fix them or whatever, but we're not going to like create a new version that doesn't break. We're not going to like not really actually address the problem. Like they have so far provided Band-Aid solutions for the problem rather than actually making it so that Joy-Cons don't drift anymore.
Okay.
All right.
So my next one, 2 new Switch consoles will be revealed in 2021.
Wow. You want to clarify that, or it's just 2?
So I think we're getting a Switch Pro.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident about that. But I also think we're probably going to see a revision to the base Switch.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be slimmed down. Maybe the bezels get smaller in a way that they make that console cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would count if It was just like an increase in battery life like they did before.
Okay.
It needs to be identifiably different.
Different enough
It
that there's
can-
like a new SKU.
Yes. If
Yeah.
there's a new SKU, I think that counts. But I also think we may see a Switch Home, which is just like a non-portable, just a box that we plug into the TV or a dongle or something. So that was really what I was going for, like a Switch Pro and like a Switch Home system.
Switch Pro is one of mine that I should have probably said earlier, but hey.
I mean, you can still say that one.
That's true. You said there was 2. I could just say
I said there's 2. Yeah,
I could just say all right. Maybe
Pro.
I'll leave it on. We'll see what happens.
Do I get half a point if they only announce one console? Are we saying that? So that's
no,
allowed?
no,
because
you're
getting half points for like Grezzo and stuff.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. What are you officially writing down as your prediction? That there will be two Switches
new
revealed?
Switch consoles will be revealed in 2021.
And are you saying that it's those two? Because that's where we have to get.
No, I'm not. No. Because I'm not saying it's those 2 specifically. I'm just saying it's
so then,
2 consoles.
In that example, then no, you would not get a point if there's one.
Okay.
Not get a half a point. If you right now say there will be 2 Switch consoles and they will be this and this, and it's one of them, then I'd say you'd get your half point. But since you're saying it's 2, if it's 1, you're fucked.
Yeah, I'm confident enough that there will be 2 consoles announced this year.
That's legit. I just want to clarify because that to me is where you get into if you spell out the parameters, you create opportunities for point division.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But just saying 2, it's like if it's any number but 2, you said 2. Okay. I'm in a weird spot. Like, do I want to sub in one of the other ones?
What, one of the easy ones?
God, this is tough. Okay. Fuck. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really like trying to play the strategy of this right now, and I'm trying to think of like what of these is the most likely. All right, this is a really safe bet, and I'm gonna get this one, I think. Okay. 2021 will see the fewest third-party ports in the history of the Switch.
Oh my god, that's tricky. Like, how are we equating that? We're gonna have to go back and look at all of the ports. Are we saying AAA?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking about like big third-party ports, not
like
this indie game that was on
Skyrim.
PC and now it's coming to Switch. Like that doesn't count. I'm talking about like a Wolfenstein, a Doom.
As we're doing this, I'm like thinking of new ones I could just add to the list. I'm gonna add them to my other non-pointable ones.
I mean, we could always add more if you want. I have a few others, but
okay. I mean, we can just keep going if you want.
All right, so that's that. So here's the thing. This will be the 5th one right now. So we got to decide: do we go for 10 and include our risky pick, or do we do 5 risky pick honorable mentions?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus a risky.
You have 10 plus a risky. I would need one additional one to hit 10. So why don't we just do 10 and we'll include the risky? You cut one of yours and I'll get one additional one.
Okay. All
right. So then my next one, I'll throw this out.
That was your next one, right? You did your.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I just did that one. Was the AAA ports. Fewest third-party AAA ports.
So my 5th one, Splatoon 3 will be announced.
Okay. Announced.
Yeah. I think it will also be a release this year, but I'm saying announced.
Okay.
Because it may be delayed till 2022.
I think that's legit. Okay. My next one then is fuck. So, okay, I have one about Breath of the Wild, but I want it like do I go really safe or do I like swing for the fences is the question.
All right, just do go with your gut.
Okay. I'll say this. We will see a full reveal of Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay. And I am going to say then, Breath of the Wild 2 will be released in the second half of 2021.
Okay. We can both get points on that one.
Yeah.
I went with full reveal because even if it doesn't come out, I can still get points.
I know.
It doesn't matter. Like, I think it's very safe to say we'll see the game in 2021. I don't know if it'll come out anymore. I was very confident about that like 6 months ago, but now I'm like, ah. Okay. So then my next one is the Switch Pro is coming in 2021.
Oh, that's so easy. No, that's too easy. It's got to be too easy.
No, it's not. We don't know that that's true. It hasn't been confirmed. And you said that it would be 2. I'm saying that as a counter to yours. You're saying it's 2. I'm saying it's just going to be the Switch Pro.
Has it got to be called the Switch Pro then?
No. It doesn't have to be called that. We don't know that they're going to call it that.
That it's the Switch Pro. If they just call it the Nintendo Switch and it's just an update to the current console, are we saying that's not the Switch Pro? It's got to have some like pro level features.
Yes.
And it's got to be in addition to the current console.
Yeah.
So it doesn't replace the Switch.
Yeah,
it's like
right. It would need to be like a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X. Like it needs to be or like the Switch Lite. It needs to be a third console in the Switch family that has better features.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can accept that then. Even if it's not called Switch Pro.
I guess unless... And I think this is a worthwhile caveat, and I don't think I'm being a cheater here. You let me know if you disagree. Unless it's a clear upgrade that is just replacing the original base model. Like if it's the same level of upgrade that we're talking about, you know what I mean?
So you're getting 4K, you're getting the additions that we kind of think.
Any of those kinds of things that we've said, like when you think Switch Pro, you think 4K, you think or a 1080 screen, like any of that kind of stuff. And the original Switch is being sunset. So then all of a sudden we have Switch Lite or Switch Pro and that's it.
Okay, I could accept that.
I don't think that'll happen, but I think that if it's clearly that model, I don't want to back myself into a corner and be like, oh yeah, like the original has to still exist. Because it's like, that's not necessarily...
Then change your prediction to be a new, more powerful Switch will be released in 2021.
I feel like you know that that's what I mean when I say Switch Pro, though.
Okay.
Right? Like, I feel like let's just be cool with this one, like honor system, you know?
All right, okay.
Because to me, it's like the Game Boy Color, right? Was like that was like a Game Boy Pro, basically, and it replaced the original Game Boy. So did the original Game Boy still exist? Sure. But you couldn't buy it anymore because it became obsolete. So I think like that kind of thing should still count is all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Cool.
I see what you're saying.
Or the 3DS, right? 3DS.
The new 3DS.
Then, or not even the new one, but they did the revision, and then the Lite is the only one you can get, right? You don't get the original little tiny one. Can't find that anywhere anymore. Launch 3DS is obsolete. Okay, good. So we're clarified. All right, so what is your 7th pick?
Okay, so my 7th pick, GTA 5 will be ported to Switch.
That's a good one.
I think it's about the time we got it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. They got to find a way to keep selling that game, right? Okay. My next pick is Nintendo will remain quiet in Q1 of 2021 while they get their plans in place and like kind of wait to see.
So we're not hearing anything until April?
I don't, not to say that we won't hear anything, but I think that they'll maintain us like a trickle. Like I think it's gonna
like what we've got. It'll be Nintendo Direct partner showcases.
Exactly. Yeah.
Announcements on Twitter rather than here's a big bam bombshell Nintendo Direct.
Yeah,
okay.
Which I thought we would see at the beginning of the year. When I was thinking that we would maybe get a Switch Pro and Zelda in March, like, and it would be like a strong.
We still could.
We still could.
This could be like the easiest like point loss straight away.
It could. But I am now feeling that they will remain more conservative, holding their cards closer to their chest, moving into, the first quarter because the world is still kind of like coming back together, and like I think that they're gonna wait and see where things are at because they've been burned talking about things too early. And we saw them like way overcompensate for that this year.
Okay. All right. Well, in which case then, because that's sort of related to one I have, which is we won't hear anything about Bayonetta 3.
Okay. That almost made it on my list.
Because it's just like, fuck me. That's been the launch year of the Switch, and we still don't have no idea what's going on with that game.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, my next one is the Pokemon Company will tease the next proper Pokemon game, but will not release it.
Oh, okay.
So that
you're saying 2022 is the next.
I'm not necessarily going to plant my flag on 2022, but I think this prediction is coming.
It's not coming out in 2021 though.
Yes. Yeah. My hope is that this will be us seeing the ramifications of the DLC development cycle that I've talked about ad nauseum on this show, but essentially that the Pokemon Company and Game Freak are introducing the DLC model as a way to continue to monetize Pokemon generations longer so that they can put longer development cycles into making like a more proper console experience. So my hope is that next year we get that re-release that I mentioned of something, we get Pokemon Snap, we get some other side games or whatever, and they talk about the next generation of Pokemon, or maybe it's the Gen 4 remakes that we've been waiting for. And they show it maybe, but they don't release it because they are going to start taking a longer development cycle. That is my prediction, but it is also my genuine hope. Okay.
So we got 2 left, normal and a risky.
One more normal one, and then our crazy like swing for the fences like hype pick.
And the risky is 2 points.
Yes.
Okay. A new Switch Online game like Tetris 99 will be released.
Okay. I think that's safe. So I don't have my last one. I need to come up with it right now, and I thought I'd have it by now, and I didn't. So I just need a second here. Just go ahead and make a cut in this in the future.
I will do.
Make a time code for me. Oh, okay, I got it.
What about your mini console?
That's my risky pick.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I've got mine. Okay. Nintendo will release another limited window title, a la Mario 3D All-Stars and Fire Emblem, whatever that one's called.
Yeah, I really, really hope not, but I can definitely see that happening.
It could even be that Pokemon game that I want.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it probably could be. But I don't think the Pokemon Company would want them to stop printing money.
No.
My risky pick then is Xbox Game Pass will be announced for Nintendo Switch.
No fucking way. You're insane. That's never going to happen. It's never going to fucking happen. Y'all are nuts. Y'all are nuts. I'll never forget when Danny was arguing with me on Twitter that there's a reality where it makes sense for PlayStation to put Game Pass on PS5, and I'm just like, look, kid, I don't know what you're smoking, but hook me up. All right,
you know,
think
Jason Schreier was talking about that, right?
Who?
Jason Schreier was talking about that.
That can't be real.
He thinks one of the main reasons they bought Bethesda was to hold the games hostage so they can get Game Pass on PlayStation, and say the only way you're getting the Bethesda games is if you allow us to put Game Pass on here.
I don't think that, and I think Jason's brilliant. Respect the hell out of him as a journalist. I think he's fucking high if he thinks that's gonna happen. And even if that is their strategy, he's fucking high if he thinks Sony's going to do that. There's no way. Fuck Bethesda. They don't need Bethesda. Like, that's, I love Bethesda. Fuck Bethesda. If every Bethesda game is Xbox exclusive from now until the end of time, it doesn't matter. Like, Sony's not gonna put fucking Game Pass on the PlayStation. There's no way.
What about something like EA Play?
That is less crazy to me.
Or like Ubisoft Plus or whatever the fuck they've got these days.
That's not a direct competitor. You know, like that's a publishing partner. And the idea of them being like, oh yeah, hey Sony, like put this on your platform and we'll give you 30% or whatever, right? And it works out for them. Sure. You're not going to fucking put your direct competitor's biggest selling point on your console and lose that revenue. It makes no sense. Xbox would have to be willing to eat shit on that deal financially. Which maybe they will. They spent like fucking billions of dollars on Bethesda, so who's to say?
Unreal.
Who's
They're
to
like
say?
the third richest company in the world. They've got the cash.
Yeah, so I mean, if they want to do that, I guess more power to them. Like, if they want to fucking throw, hey, Sony, here's $5 billion. We're going to put Game Pass on PlayStation, I guess, whatever, fine. But that seems insane. That's an insane prediction. But okay, I respect it.
It also, like, stops you buying an Xbox. Like, if you have a PS5,
yeah,
and you know you can just pay for Game Pass, and I can play all the Microsoft games, even if it's just streaming, and I can play, like, the new Halo, why would I buy an Xbox?
Yeah. Whereas I think in a couple of years, they'll have a really compelling argument for you to buy an Xbox if you don't play on PC. Be like, well, do you want to play Halo and Fable and the next Obsidian
and every Bethesda game?
Every Bethesda game?
Made?
And, yeah. Yeah. So I think Xbox is going to be fine without that. Okay, so my risky pick is going to be Nintendo will release an N64 Classic for the 25th anniversary of the console.
You're insane. They're more likely to add N64 games to Switch Online than they are to release a mini console, I think.
You're totally right, but it's my risky pick, and I had to pick something. I don't think that saying N64 games come to Switch is risky enough. Like, you could see that happening. It's like, of course, sure, that could happen. This is like a thing where it's like...
God, is it really 25 years old?
Yeah. We're fucking old.
How are we so old?
We're old as fuck, dude. That's it. Yeah, it came out in 1996.
Fuck.
I specifically looked that up for the context of this. I was like, isn't that the 25th anniversary too? Like, a lot of anniversaries.
There's so many this year. It's like 40 years of Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Donkey Kong, Zelda, Pokemon, N64. I think there's one other big one. Is it maybe Metroid?
Yeah, but okay, that's not happening.
No. But yeah, okay, so that's our list. We've got it. We'll save it. Steve, go take mine from the show notes or put yours there or whatever. Put them in the folder. We got it. We're going to keep track of it. But again, Doc, somebody who's always listening and telling me when I fuck up, keep us honest, okay? But we'll keep track of this one. I'm looking forward to see how this shakes out. Because like this is going to be one of those things that'll be fun to watch like all year because there's some of them where it's like I could immediately, like, they could have a huge Nintendo Direct, like, tomorrow, and, like, oh, okay, all of a sudden my quiet Q1 one is already fucking over. So, like, I think it'll be fun to see these kind of get checked, like, over time. So we'll have to remember to keep checking in on it and like, trying to keep in mind what our predictions were. So that if it comes up, we can comment on it. But all right, great, awesome. Thank you again for everybody who tuned in for this one. This was a super fun episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll be back next week with some news, hopefully. Of course, like, the whole spiel at this point. Thank you for listening. Write in next week. We'll be back for a more normal show. So I'm sure we'll need your questions. So hit us up. You can hit me up at pete@lootpots.com. Come join the Discord and get in that PotsCast channel every week when we call for questions. Follow us at LootPots on Twitter and Instagram, and go grab our weekly Twitter thread where we toss up, our call for questions, as it were. Again, you want to get some more content from us, head over to the Twitch channel. Every Thursday, Steve and I are there streaming something. Let us know what you'd like to see us play this week, and we'll get on it. And then you can head over to the YouTube channel, check out some of our video essays, head over to the new PotsCast channel, give us a subscribe and a like, and share it with your friends. Wherever you get the show, give it a rating, share it with your friends. If you've got a friend in your life who loves Nintendo, who loves gaming, who you think might enjoy the show, I hope you'll let them know that we're out here and that you enjoy what we do and that they might like it too. So yeah, with that, I hope the rest of your year is safe and happy and healthy and good and, all that great stuff. And, we'll be here with you every week. So happy New Year, and we will catch you next week for another episode of the PotsCast.